Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Please reach out to me directly. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com for pricing. Today, we're discussing a 2021 update of a watch launched in 2019. This is the Vacheron Constantin Overseas Tourbillon in red gold with blue dial. This is a boutique exclusive model. So the steel version came out in 2019. This variant came out in 2021, and it's impressive. From a technical standpoint, well, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's talk about ergonomics. 42.5 millimeters in diameter. The watch is 10.5 millimeters thick if we include just the lug-to-lug dimension. That is, if we were to remove the bracelet from both sides and just measure the case, the distance would be 50.5 millimeters. But that's not how we wear a watch. So we put the bracelet back on, and the outermost rigid outcropping, the total distance measured side to side, is a beefy 57.2 millimeters. This is a large watch. You're going to want to wear it on a wrist no smaller than mine. My wrist is 16 centimeters in circumference, and while it fits fine, and it would fit even better on the two straps that come with it, you could see that I'm approaching the limits of my wrist. I'm getting out toward the edge. So if your wrist is 16 centimeters circumference like mine, game on. You're going to wear it well. You're going to love the way it fits. But if your wrist is smaller, you're going to want to look for a smaller overseas. That said, it is incredibly thin. For an automatic tourbillon, sitting so low on the wrist, it'll easily slide beneath the cuff, and every Vacheron should at least be able to pull double duty as a dress watch, even if it's designed as a sports watch, and this Vacheron definitely can. The bracelet is beautifully made, and of course we have those quick release lugs that allow us to easily remove it. Now the watch comes with two straps. They're color keyed to the dial, so you get one blue leather strap and one blue rubber strap. They come with a extra deployant clasp so that you can fit them to the watch. And then what we have here is a super simple reattachment mechanism that's just like a car seatbelt buckle. The bracelet is integrated into the lug, so you can see its flanks are polished, its hoods are primarily satinated. The little recesses between the links are hand finished with polish, which is nice attention to detail. And then there's a subtle rolled bevel from the tops over to the flanks, and you can see that right there. Every single link is removable on both sides, and you can see that there's a little half, or maybe it's a 60% link built in, so you have some fine sizing leeway using removable links. But we also have these little 1.5 millimeter tool-free extensible size adjusters, one on each side of the clasp. The clasp itself is polished internally. It is a double folding clasp. It has twin trigger release. You can see the partition point is that Maltese cross, the logo of the brand. And you'll see the Maltese cross everywhere on this watch, including on the pattern running down the center of the links, as well as on the bezel and the face of the crown. Now the watch does have a screw-down crown, and it's rated to 50 meters of water resistance. So with a screw-down crown, 50 meters of water resistance is enough for surface swimming. So this watch does have credibility as a sports watch. You can definitely swim with it. Don't go diving, but you can definitely swim with it. The bezel has that Maltese cross-like motif. It's polished externally, but then its recesses are satinated, and it sits on a plinth that has a satin finished top and then a polished edge. We have a case that has satin finished tops, polished edge, and then an expanding bevel that flares as it approaches the lug hoods. The watch has a dial of gloss blue, and that blue is a translucent lacquer that sits on a black polished metal base. We have rose gold logo, hour indices, and hands, so they maintain their intensity and color over time. They won't fade or oxidize. We have a darker lacquered flange outboard that's navy blue, and then the printing is white on blue. We have a tourbillon of extraordinary quality. You can see it too has a Maltese cross form. The tourbillon cage is shaped like the logo of the company, and its upper bridge is beautifully full rounded and black polished. Rare beauty and attention to detail. But my favorite detail is actually a little bit below. If you look at the interior of those Maltese cross skeletonizations, you can see that the interior angles are beautifully cut with a sharp cleft where their interior bevels meet. You can also see that the entire skeletonized tourbillon cage, the upper part of the cage, has been black polished across its top, beveled on its outer edges for sharp outward points, and then beveled inboard for sharp inward angles. It's very impressive. And there is one fired blued screw among the polished screws, and that blued screw acts as your seconds hand, as it is a 1-minute tourbillon. You can also appreciate that this tourbillon beats away at a very traditional 18,000 vibrations per hour, so the aesthetics of it are hugely pleasing. And it is a free-sprung architecture that is adjusted in 5 positions. The free-sprung architecture means it takes and holds a precise adjustment, even in the face of bumps and concussions on the wrist, which is particularly useful as this is a sports watch. It's very impressive on the reverse side because at first glance you wouldn't know it's an automatic. Then you realize it is a peripheral rotor automatic. The caliber 2160 first debuted in a dress watch, and then the next year it debuted in the Overseas Tourbillon. So we have a 22-karat gold mass outboard that features no fewer than 4 different types of finish, and it orbits the movement. So much like a micro rotor, the winding system is in the same plane as the bridges. So it doesn't make the watch any thicker. That's how this watch can be only 10.5 millimeters thick. It energizes a 80-hour power reserve, which is quite accomplished, and then it's adjusted in 5 positions as mentioned earlier. It pivots on 30 jewels, and it has 1 golden chaton for the pivot jewel that braces the underside of the tourbillon cage, so that's very impressive. We have mirrored anglage on the edge of each bridge. We have beveling. We have Côte de Genève, or stripes, across their tops. You could see that we have black polished screws with chamfered slots in circumference. If you look at the base plate, you can see under the wheel train there is some engine-turned perlage, and then we also have setnation on all of the wheels themselves, so this is all quite attractive and impressively resistant to magnetism, as there's a paramagnetic ring that runs around the movement and endows the watch with 25,000 ampere per meter of anti-magnetic resistance, which isn't a lot compared to 80,000 ampere per meter, which would be mil-Gauss. But remember, ISO 764 declares that an anti-magnetic watch is resistant to 4,800 ampere per meter, and this watch is 25,000. Lots to love. As long as you've got lots of wrist, you're going to love it. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details. And I'm back with a quick loom shot of the Overseas Tourbillon and a fun fact. In case you were wondering, the hairspring is an overcoil.